The indescribable innocence and beneficence of nature, of sun and wind and rain, of summer and winter.
Such health, such cheer they afford forever. And such sympathy have they ever with our race, that all nature would be affected and the sun's brightness fade. Henry David Thoreau, Walden. This quote was so striking to me because of how passionate he sounds about the beauty of nature. It's the simple things that happen every day that we take for granted and that are really the most exquisite. Thoreau explains that the weather, the sunset, and our overall environment is unique in its own way and demonstrates its beauty to our race. He shows the balance of different elements coming together. Nature is forever and endless and should be valued. However, today, we're often blinded by the constant distraction of technology that surrounds us and that follows us everywhere we go, whether it be the radio, our phones, computers, or more. To counter this and to become more transcendentalist, I decided that I would try to become one with nature. Thoreau's ideas initially seemed so foreign to me, so I tried to experience what he had described in Walden. I took a look outside and tried to see what the outside had to offer. Examining all the plant life and the snow on the ground, I attempted to take in its beauty. I wanted to experience what Thoreau was explaining through his writing. He describes the sun's brightness at the end of the quote, and it inspired me to take around 30 minutes out of my day to sit in solitude and watch the sunset. I'll be absent from technology and the constant notifications that fill my mind every day. Obviously, Thoreau didn't go to Walden to escape iPhones and laptops. However, by going outside by myself and observing nature, I took the first steps into filling his shoes without any distractions. I could begin to understand his transcendentalist values about nature and how he is able to describe it in such detail. In all honesty though, when I first sat outside, I was bored out of my mind. Technology and distractions have corrupted my mind for years, leaving me restless and uneasy. Rather than absorbing what nature had to offer, my mind was elsewhere thinking of what I'd rather be doing. However, I realized that understanding transcendentalist values was a process, so I decided to repeat this process for the next few days. Each aspect of the environment began to support another. I felt a sense of balance that I couldn't really get anywhere else. I think that I agree with Thoreau and how he's saying that it's indescribable. The feelings I had sitting outside couldn't be mimicked. You had to be there to experience it. In the beginning, I walked around a lot, taking a lot of mental notes of the things I saw around me. Though towards the end, I was able to sit, sometimes just read a book, and absorb the balance and simplicity of nature. After a few days of taking time to sit outside, I feel like I'm a little more connected to the world and feel a stronger bond with nature. I began to appreciate how beautiful and delicate our own environment is. It's been showing itself to us for years, but lots of us choose to ignore it. I feel like now I'm a part of a greater being, and I can live intentionally to experience life's beauty and not just go through the motions. I know lots of this sounds cliche, and simply sitting outside for a few days won't do much from a logical standpoint. But it's more than that. I feel like I have a different understanding of the world, a real feeling. I can start to understand what he was talking about through the sun and the winds and how they showcase themselves to the people. Though, in the future, will I take time to sit outside and do nothing every day? Probably not. However, this project gave me insight on a new perspective of the world that I never truly understood. I'm grateful for this experience, and it started to open my eyes to a new world.